would describe the Pride feeling as celebration, but also recognition and declaration of oneself and of other people, and there is a protest element to it. I do wonder now, the way that the amount of movements have been made, how much of that is still, where the balance lies with it. But I don't think it's one or the other. There's the feeling of, the phrase of the LGBT community. I do think that people say it's overused. I don't think that's true. There is a community of us purely because there has to be. There's so many people that don't have access to other communities that they would otherwise fit into if they weren't queer. The community is important to me because of the fact that it must be for everyone. I don't think anyone can go it alone. Everyone needs to have somebody to rely on for whatever reason. I think I see pride in movements in the sense that, over the years, in the same way almost as feminism, I think the movement we're at now needs to focus specifically on gender non-conforming individuals and trans people. They are political talking points in a way that hadn't been for time immemorial, really. Up until now, it is convenient for certain political ideologies. I have noticed, I think it's impossible not to, an increase in that. And it does frighten me. And it, in the sense of looking out for my community, I'm fully aware of the fact that I am a white, cisgender, gay man. It's not to say that, therefore I have equal rights. I think in a way that is going to be incredibly hard to establish to its full extent. But there is a privilege that I have in that sense that isn't afforded to people who aren't those things, who don't have those privileges. Seeing now, just even this year, the hate that has been harboured, not just towards the queer community in general, but towards those people falling under those categories, particularly those falling under intersectional categories as well. I think is why we do need to see perhaps more active forms of protest. I think it's a wildfire kind of thing. I think you can socialize, or people can socialize other people. Someone says or behaves in a repugnant way to what is socially acceptable in terms of, do we treat this person with equal rights? Do we treat this person fairly, free from ridicule? One person doesn't do that. That receives support or is promoted by political figureheads, by commentators, by media figureheads. People realise that this is now a safe space for their bigotry, and so they will do it, and there is a sort of spiral effect that happens, I think, from it. And I think actually a lot of people were doing it in the comfort of their own homes, not publicly, because they were maybe afraid of the backlash they would get, but now believe that they are safe to act and behave in those ways. And that, I think I've seen, especially with the mask of being online, I think a lot of people are a lot more comfortable doing that, but that is, no different, in my opinion, to ramifications that can be had to people doing it in person as well. And it takes one extremist to take the bigotry on social media and turn that into murder. And then what happens after that? It creates a world where people think that it's acceptable. It's definitely impacted to an extent the way I'd express myself. I think I've become more cautious of my surroundings, more so than I would have done a couple of years ago. I'm aware of the fact that I was in Brighton a couple of years ago and I am now not. At the same time, I've still definitely felt a bit more wary, I think. It's not to say that I'm still masking myself, but there is an awareness of it. It's almost sort of like, like Sherlock Holmes when he sees like oak, wood, blah, 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 blah. And I sort of I see the looks that people would now give. I also, I mean, I've been, wrongly assumed to not be cisgender before, and I've seen not the relief, but there has been a visible reaction from people when I've said that's not the case. Not, to me, the ordinary person would have no reaction to that, wouldn't even really go into a question about it, because why does it matter? But not everybody thinks like that, unfortunately. The queer community is, I've described before, an easy target because of what it represents. Any marginalised community, any otherised community is an easy target from the majority. And it's for various different reasons. I often find in my own sort of research and lived experience that these rhetorics come out during times of economical lack of certainty. I think it's because fingers and knives get pulled out, fingers get pointed at the wrong people, and it's easier to accuse your neighbour and hate your neighbour in those points than love them, because almost it's like we can't afford that either. To me, it is about, I think as a queer person, it's about defying the odds. It's about, you are born into a world that is against you, and in spite of that you have triumphed. I mean, proud of my achievements, that goes without saying, but I'm also proud of my failures and my flaws, and I think that always has to go hand in hand. Not because just being purely proud of your achievements is delusional and also arguably a little bit vain, but also because I think it is inaccurate. I don't think that you can actually be fully proud of yourself. I don't think you can have pride fully if you aren't fully proud of what is there, and that includes all of the murky bits, the skeletons in the closet, the mistakes, the things that didn't go to plan. But where I am now is something that I am absolutely proud of, and I look forward to the future to see what I can next be proud of, in a way, and that could be the next failure or that could be the next achievement.